In this video, we would be talking about the line of heart. I would start by showing you different palms and different heart lines that a person does have and the different meanings associated with different types of heart line in palmistry. But before we start looking at those particular aspects, we should also basically first know about the real meaning of the heart line. This is the first meaning you should understand, and then we would go on to explain the meaning of the heart line and different palms. In palmistry, heart line is one of the major lines found on the palm of the hand. It is believed to reveal information about person's emotional state, relationships, matters of the heart. It is typically located just below the base of the fingers and run horizontally across the top portion of the palm. Here are some common interpretations of the heart line in palmistry. This is the heart line that we are referring to. The heart line reflects upon the emotional nature of that particular person, the emotional temperament, how they express and manage their emotions, the romantic life of that particular person. Palmists often use heart line to gain insight into personal, romantic and love life, emotional balance. Is the person emotionally consistent, and is the person is basically prone to troubled kind of emotions, or a emotional stable kind of a person? A well-defined and evenly curved heart line is often seen as a sign of emotional stability, while irregular or breaks in the line might suggest period of emotional troubles or trauma in one's life. In this particular image that you see a very emotionally stable kind of a person. The heart line also tells about the relationship the person would be having with different people, the family, the friends, and the romantic partner. The presence of branches or smaller lines extending from the heart line can indicate different relationships or significant emotional connections with the other people. It could suggest attachments in one's life. The heart line can also provide hints about individuals' communication style in matters of heart. A long, unbroken heart line might suggest open and clear communication, while a chained or fragmented line could indicate challenges in expressing the emotions. Even a short line that you see out here could indicate towards that particular thing. Emotional health. Some palmists believe that the heart line can often indicate emotional health and potential issues related to matters of the heart, such as heartbreaks or emotional stress, or something to do with the physical heart as well. In my practical palm reading experience, I have found that the heart line can be associated with not just your personal life, your love life, but even your professional life as well. So when we look at the heart line, we should look at every aspect of your life. This is my basically over a period of long experience of palmistry, I found that each and every line can correlate to everything else in your life. While comparing different heart lines, I should add out here that when people are asking questions to you, they would always be wanting to know about certain things. They would be wanting to know regarding success, failures, something to do with divorce, relationship issues, money, possessions, wealth. These are the main questions that everybody would be asking. So I would be answering those questions from the point of view of your heart line. Now in this particular case, you would notice that the quality of the heart line is very simple kind. A simple heart line is considered to be a good line, and specifically if it ends under the finger of Saturn. This is the finger of Saturn. The heart line is purely ending under the mount of Saturn. When it ends on the mount of Saturn, the person becomes more realistic, more grounded. Saturn is all about what is possible. Saturn is a very slow moving planet. So it gives seriousness to everything. So seriousness in one's relationships. It is kind of a traditional kind of a planet. So it would basically means that that such a person would be more grounded kind of a person. The person knows the ground situations very well. Now the quality of the line can be judged by how simple looking the heart line is. This is the simple looking heart line. Now you would notice a small break under the finger of sun. This is the finger of sun, so there's a break under it. Whenever we find that there's a break in the line of heart, it could indicate towards that the person is likely to have a heartbreak. It could mean an sudden end in a relationship or a partnership or the work that you are doing. It could also mean something to do with eyes or heart related issues. But as such, the quality of the heart line is good. In spite of this particular break, I would say the quality of the heart line is good. That is the reason why we would certainly say that things are likely to be reasonably good throughout their life. To see if a person would be accumulating good amount of money in their life, we just have to look at the heart line. If the heart line ends on the Mount of Saturn, we would say that the person's heart inclination is towards Saturn, and heart inclination towards Saturn basically means that the person respects money, values money, the person wants to multiply money, and the person would automatically be able to be a very good money manager. Either they are doing in business or service, whatever they might be doing, still they would be able to accumulate good amount of money in their life. Now let us go to the second image. Now you would notice that this particular heart line, in comparison to the previous one, is broad kind of a line. Broad lines are considered to be negative kind of lines. Broad lines destroy the quality of that particular line, whichever line is broad. See, there's a difference between a broad line and a deep line. So this line is going to get categorized into a broad line. A broad line is not, there might not be depth in it, but there's more of breadth in it. So I just draw something like this. Broad line is something like a broad, there's broadness out here. This particular line was much more deeper and clearer kind of a line. There's depth in it. The line is not broad. So understand the differentiation between a deep line and a broad line. Broad line is categorized as a negative line. It destroys the quality of that particular line, and because this particular heart line is broad, it would mean that the heart functioning is not going to be proper. The physical heart functioning may not be proper, and there would be heart related issues that can crop up. It is something like spreading yourself too thin, very, very thin. There's a thin river and there's depth in it, and there's a broad river which does not have depth in it. So deep lines are considered to be good, but broad lines are considered to be negative kind of lines. And when we talk from the perspective of success, see, people who get stressed up are the ones who may not be able to achieve as much as what people who are very stable in their relations, who are very, very cool in their relations, who are basically not getting anxiety prone. So this person might be anxiety prone, and suddenly anxiety may basically affect this particular person at one given age. We can't say when, but it can be at any time of their life. Let us move to the third basically image out here. Now this particular heart line is also there, but it's a little bit longer compared to the previous one. This is the heart line, so it's ending somewhere between the Jupiter and the Saturn mount. It is somewhere ending out here. This is where it is ending. This is where the heart line is ending. So it gets the quality of both the Jupiter and the Saturn. Saturn is all about money, possessions, wealth, wisdom, responsibility. Jupiter is all about idealism and sensitivity and higher expectations. But because it's somewhere in the middle, we would still categorize it to be a good line from the perspective of worldly things. So in that perspective, it is reasonably good. The best would be if the heart line is ending on the Mount of Saturn. In this way, the person is totally focused. Oh, I want money, so they would make money in their life. Nothing, no doubts about that. But out here, the person would be somewhere in the middle. The person would have idealism also, indicated by Jupiter, and the person would have materialism also indicated by Saturn. Now, apart from this, you would notice small branches, one or two branches out here. The smaller, these are small branches, so small branches hanging downwards towards the headline. This is the headline, is considered to be negative. Even this particular branch can be seen a minor negative. And these are kind of hanging to the physical heart. This is the heart line, so the branches are hanging downwards. Imagine this is your physical heart, so branches are hanging downwards from the physical heart. So these lines create distractions, the person falls for temptations. The person may not be able to focus themselves completely, but because these branches are not very long kind of branches, so we would say that the negative aspect, they may have the kind of the negative aspect that may play out on their life is going to be limited, not in a very, very bad way. Let's move to the third image. Now out here also you would notice that the heart line is reasonably okay, ending under the Mount of Saturn. It is not having a curvature that you may have found in the other. You notice out here there is a curvature towards the end. Curvature in the heart line makes a person more passionate and there's more display of emotions. But in this particular hand image, you would find that the heart line does not have kind of a curvature towards the end, and it is kind of quite straight, ending under the Mount of Saturn. So such people do not express their emotions. As it is the Saturn, when the heart line is ending under the Mount of Saturn, the person is not an emotional kind of a person, and because it is straight also, straight heart line could basically indicate that the person may keep their emotions in check and they may not display their emotions too much. So this is one aspect. The other aspect is the branches are here also, and there's a longer branch also pointing and touching the area of Mars negative area. This is the heart line, and a long branch hanging downwards pointing and touching the area of Mars negative means, and Mars negative is the area for anger, aggression and fire. So what happens is basically these branch is something like a relationship and you're taking towards the fire. This is the area for fire. So it could be a fiery kind of a relationship that the person may have towards the later portion of their life. The heart line starts at this particular point and ends out here. So this portion of the heart line is towards the end of the portion of the heart line. So it could be towards the end of one's life. They would experience some kind of a emotional turmoil from some relationship or the other. Now let us look at another heart line. Now this heart line, you would notice that the heart line has got few branches at the starting point. It means that the person would have love for children, and the person would kind of attract children towards them. They have that inclination. The heart line is kind of double also during some portion. It could point towards duality in your emotions, dual emotions, like you are on two different boats, emotional boats at the same time. Branches over the heart line means getting distracted. Now getting distracted can be in your relationship, it can be in your partnership, and it can also be in your work as well. Try to understand, heart line also tells regarding your work as well. So the person may get distracted from what they actually are doing. So it is advisable that they remain committed to whatever they're doing instead of getting distracted. So whenever I see these kind of branches over the heart line, I normally tell that particular person that try to remain committed, try not to get distracted, try not to fall for temptations. And if you fall for temptations, however good your hand might be, still you may not be able to achieve that kind of success that you may actually be having that kind of a potential in your hand. Even if you have the best of sun line, even then these branches over the heart line does destroy the quality of your particular hand, but in a limited way, because we have to analyze the palm as a whole and not just your heart line. So we have to look at each and every aspect of your palm, and only then we can arrive at the conclusion. Now these branches that are there towards the end and they point towards the fingers, these are considered to be good. And if these branches were upward, something like this, also branches from the heart line pointing upward, it would mean upliftment from your relationship. It means those relations are basically uplifting you. These relationships are disappointing you. These are a drag on you, and these are upliftment from the relationship. Even these two lines pointing towards the finger is indicative that the relations are likely to be good even towards the end of the life. Somewhere in the middle, things can go wrong. These are the wrong kind of things, and specifically when they point towards the amount of Mars negative, those are basically kind of negative in some way or the other. Let us look at now another heart line. Now this heart line, you would notice that the flow of the heart line is not perfect. There's a break out here. Then there are branches over the heart line. And then there's a break again out here. So the relationships can break. Now it could also indicate towards the divorce indications also, but not necessarily 100% the person may have a divorce. Try to understand that just because you have a break on the heart line, we can't say with conclusion that 100% you are going to have a divorce. Now these lines are, it's always better to have a consistent kind of a line. A consistent kind of a line brings more dedication into your life. The person is able to offer their life either to one relationship or towards a partnership or towards a work that they are doing. Inconsistent kind of a line where there's a wave-like formation also, you notice that there's a slight wave-like formation. So wave-like formation could mean some kind of emotional instability. There's a break also and there's a wave in the line as well. So both are kind of negative, and the quality of the hand gets destroyed to a limited extent, although it may not be as bad in this particular case because two headlines appear after the age of 35. So it kind of balances the negative aspects on the line of heart. So even if there are negative aspects on your heart line and you have got a strong headline, it can balance it out. But in the earlier portion of the headline, this downward line, so these are also negative lines pointing towards the base of the palm. I won't go into the headline, otherwise we would be going off the topic. Now this heart line is simple kind of a looking kind of a line, simple straight kind of a line. These are the best possible heart line that a person can have, and just by looking at the line of heart we can say success in whatever the work that you are doing. And even if this person has got lots of hardships in his life, first of all, the structure of the hand is good. It would support this kind of a person. But apart from that, such kind of a heart line means these people are highly dedicated. These people do not fall for temptations. They do not get distracted. They are committed kind of people, and that is the reason why more success can be expected just by looking at this particular heart line. Let us move on to another hand image that we have out here. Now the quality of the heart line out here, you would notice that it is lacking in depth compared to the other lines. So when there's lack of depth in the line, so the depth of emotions may be lacking. The heart line is ending under the Mount of Saturn. That's considered to be a good sign. I won't repeat the meaning again and again. There's a break in the heart line, so break is considered to be a little bit negative, which I've already explained. Some kind of a problems in your relationships or the work that you are doing. You suddenly end the relationship and start something else, or you suddenly end the work that you're doing and start to do something else. You'd wonder why we say break in the heart line could mean a change in your work as well. The reason being, apart from giving your heart to your relationship, you also give your heart to the work that you are doing. So that is the reason why we look at your professional life also on your line of heart. This particular heart line is a little bit long kind of a heart line, ending under the mount of Jupiter. A long heart line makes a person a more emotional kind, more sensitive, more idealistic, and the person would have unrealistic expectations. Now, this heart line could have been even longer, but it is reasonably long, I would say, and it is not ending under the mount of Saturn. So Saturn people are more realistic. This is a unrealistic kind of a person and higher expectations. There's a break in the heart line out here also, so slightly negative. The quality of the heart line as such is reasonably good, because it's looking a simple kind of a heart line, so simple, deep and clear heart line, so it's reasonably good. There are few branches over the heart line, strong branches, so these are some emotional disappointments that the person would have in their life. But because the quality of the main line remains good, that is the reason we would say that still, in spite of having not the perfect line also, still the person would be successful. And longer heart line means sometimes they are too idealistic, and where the opportunity arises to make money, they may lose the opportunity to make money because of their idealism. So I would advise such a person to be more realistic and respect money, value money. That is the reason why you would get more money in your life. So this is a suggestion to such kind of people. Now we look at this particular heart line again. This is the left hand. There's a break in the heart line, and this is comparatively in the earlier portion between the age of, let's say, 25 to the age of 35, and the heart line is also ending on the mount of Jupiter, so more idealistic kind of a person. Because it's very straight heart line means that the person does not express the emotion. They may be emotional, but they are not expressing the emotions. In the previous image that I had seen, just let me go back out here, which image I was on. No, this was not the image. Just 1 minute, please. So you would notice that towards the end of the heart line, there's a curvature in the heart line. So the person is emotional and the person is expressing their emotions also. The curvature out here towards the end. But in this particular image, you would notice that the heart line is long and there's no curvature in the heart line. So the person does not express their emotion. They may be emotional, but they don't express their emotions. And break in the heart line is emotional disappointment, abrupt ending, and even it could also be seen as a heart or eye related issues as well. Now this heart line, you notice that normally the heart line points towards the fingers, but this particular heart line towards the end is kind of pointing towards the headline. This is the line of head. So when the line is long, we would say very idealistic, very sensitive kind of a person, and very very too much idealism. And these people could be fanatics as well. Like the emotions run really deep, and you can emotionally charge this particular person to a very high degree and make him do anything in emotion. So this person is going to be a very emotionally charged kind of a person, and you can take advantage of such a person. So these people have to understand that they don't have to get swayed by people and swayed by emotions. So this is one caution the person needs to do. And the person because it's pointing towards the area or towards the headline, we would say misplaced affections. What it basically means is being affectionate to somebody who is not worth your affection, giving your time, effort, energy to people who are not worth it. This person might meet people who are not worth his affection. So the person needs to be extremely careful regarding that particular aspect. But still, if we look at the quality of the heartline, the quality as such is good, because it's a simple looking heartline without any breaks, without without any branches over it. So in spite of this person being a very idealistic kind of a person, still we would say comparatively it's a good sign, and completely it's not touching the headline, it's only tilting towards the headline. So if the heartline had touched the headline, then we would have said really negative, but in this case we would say slightly negative, not purely negative. So these people should not give their money or time or effort to people who are not worth their affection. So they have to be a little bit careful regarding that particular aspect. Now let us move to another line of heart. And this heart line, you would notice that in some portions, the heart line is a dual kind of a heart line. And this portion is in the earlier portion of your life. And there are lots of branches over the heart line. So a totally distracted kind of a person. And the heartline is a branch of the heartline is also touching the headline. So some relation or some issues are going to crop up in his life. And a double heartline means towards the earlier portion of life, from the early portion till almost till the age of 25 26, the person would be on two emotional boats at the same time. So if you try to balance on two different boats at the same time, even in still waters, still you are going to fall down in the river or in the lake. So you have to place yourself in one single boat instead of two boats at the same time. The good part about the heart line is that it is kind of ending on the Mount of Saturn. So ending on the Mount of Saturn makes them more realistic and grounded. There is also this kind of a line formation. Now this line formation can be seen as an incomplete girdle of Venus. A girdle of Venus looks something like this. So this is another parallel looking heart line that is there. So it's better not to have these kind of lines, because it would bring some kind of an emotional instability in their life. But because the person has got a strong headline towards the end, you would notice that the person would be able to control their emotions as well. Now we move on to the other heart line. This is almost perfect, 100% perfect heart line, and such people are likely to be very, very successful. These people are the ones who offer their life completely and dedicated, and they practice detachment. Now detachment does not mean that they leave everything and go to Himalayas, they leave all the worldly things, all the material things and go to Himalayas. They leave all their relationships and go to Himalayas. It's not what detachment means. Detachment means being in the moment without having expectation of the outcome. This is what they are. And such people are highly committed. When they give their heart to somebody, they give it. If they give their heart to a work, any profession, they completely are there. Supposing they go to office and they have got lots of problems at house, they would forget whatever problems are there in the house, and they would say, now I am on work, I would give my complete 100% attention to my office, to the present. So such people are the ones who are never anxiety prone. They are dedicated. They don't fall for any temptation. Even if you bring something up to them, you tell such a person, oh, you're earning like $100 per hour, I would give you $300 per hour. But they would say, nothing doing, let me do what I'm already doing, and I don't want to get distracted. So such people, let's assume another situation, like this person would let's imagine that these people are very, very responsible kind of people, because the heart line is ending under the Mount of Saturn. And let's take their children. Now everybody loves their children, and imagine a situation that child is bad in maths. So such people would say, okay, I am going to give you money for the maths tuition, so go and study in your maths tuition. So you provide him everything. But let's imagine your child goes not for the tuitions, maths tuitions, and your child goes to and goes to a movie hall, or just goes with his friends for a trip somewhere. And you come to know about such a situation. You try to explain to your child, okay, you've done something wrong, try to remain committed, try to try to learn maths because you're weak in maths. But if the child does not listen to him, let's imagine that, so this person would not get stressed. The person would say, okay, this I gave my child all the opportunity to correct himself. If he's not correcting himself, it is his life. So even your child is your baggage. So this person would not be carrying the extra baggage of the past disappointments or of their relationships. So however bad the relationships could be in this particular person's life, the person would not be affected with the bad relations at all. So this is what is basically represented by this kind of a line. Such people, if they are given a big task, however the big task might be, these people would never ever get stressed, and they would be able to handle any big problem in their own organization, in their own house, anywhere. Even if you bring the biggest of problem in such a person, the person would be able to handle it and move ahead in their life. So this is what is represented out here. Even this particular heartline that you see out here, it's almost perfect. It's ending under the Mount of Saturn. So most good businessmen would have their heartline end out here. And because there's a curvature towards the end, the person becomes very passionate, and there's display of emotions. Display of emotion and expressing your emotions does not mean you are an emotional person. So such a person is not an emotional person. The person is a very realistic kind of a person, and the person would not be like swayed by emotions. The person would be grounded, knows the ground situations very well. There would be tears in this particular person's eyes, but do not be mistaken. The person is not an emotional person. The person is just expressing their emotion. They are very expressive with their emotions. And the branch that you see out here, this is also kind of pointing towards a finger also. So in that way, it is perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. The main line is towards the Saturn. And there are one or two branches also. So these are also good relations helping this particular person in his life. So this is a perfect kind of a heartline a person can have. Just by looking at this heartline, we can say guaranteed success. This is the right hand. That was the left hand. Again, it's similar kind of indication, so I won't repeat it. It's a simple looking line. The person never gets stressed, anxiety prone. These trident kind of a formation. Again, it's the same meaning, I would say. Relations uplifting you. Those are a positive sign. Now out here, it's a little bit different kind of a line. Now this particular line is known as a Samian line. Samian line is a combination of the head and the heart line that is joined together. But apart from this, you'd also notice that this is also one line that is there. So this is a small line that is there. So small heart line means absence of emotions in such a person's life. And imagine the situation if this line was not there, and there was just a combination of the head and the heart line joined together. So this is known as the Samian line. A Samian line people are very different kind of a people. It's merging of emotions. The heart line is all about emotions, and the head line is all about thought process. So emotions and thought process are joined together. So such person would have no boundaries between the head, the thought process, and the emotions. So such people can take very hard kind of decisions. So such people are they can be very good friends, or they could be extremely bitter enemies, and they would be very difficult to understand because such lines are very difficult to find in a person's hand. So such people are very difficult people to understand. Now in this hand also, you would notice that the heart line is very short and one branch is ending out here. So misplaced affections, and the heart line is also broken. So some problems may crop up in the later portion of their life, after the age of, let's say, 55 or so, or maybe 45 to 55. That's the rough estimate, I would say. And as such, the quality of the heart line in the earlier portion is good. So in that way it is good, but something goes wrong out here, abrupt ending in the relationship or a partnership, and this there could be some problems that the person would face in their emotional life, and the person may be able to cope up with it because the quality of the heartline is reasonably okay, but there's a break, so the person would be heartbroken. Major heartbreak could be expected in such a person's life. This heartline is also a little bit different out here. You'd notice normally the heartline starts at the edge out here, and there's distance between the fingers and the end out here. So there's a good distance between the fingers and the heartline out here. But out here, the distance gets reduced out here. This is the heartline that we are referring to. So it is something like more space out here means more disconnected. Less space means more connected in their emotions, and the person is kind of jittery kind of a person. And the emotions are going to be kind of boiling, and those kind of emotions are likely to be there. And this heartline is kind of appearing that it is not towards it's kind of originating on the Mount of Mercury. So when the heartline is starting somewhat on the Mount of Mercury, this is starting on the edge out here. Notice this is starting on the edge, but on the left hand it is starting more on the line on the Mount of Mercury. So when it starts on the Mount of Mercury, it gets the quality of Mercury in your life. So Mount of Mercury is all about calculations and communications. So some special abilities that the person could possess in the field of communication and calculations, some special abilities, we can't say what, but some special abilities. So in all, I have tried to explain different types of heartline. There could be many other different kind of heartline as well, where the heartline is totally broken up into pieces. I've seen many people who have got completely broken kind of a heartline. A broken kind of a heartline could mean total break in emotions. Total emotional instability is there. Emotional instability in your work life, in your relationships, everything. And there would be no stable relations, not in the earlier portion of life, not in the later portion of the life, not in the present portion of the life. There are another option many people would have, and it is something like an island, like a formation some people have on the line of heart. An island on the heartline, any portion of the heartline would mean elongated period of emotional instability or emotional isolation. What does island mean? Island is something like this is the ocean and there's an island out here. So if you go to an island, we love to go to an island, but imagine a situation you're left on an island for a long duration of time. So it would mean isolated. So island on the heartline means emotional isolation that the person may experience. So even that is a negative sign. And an island under the finger of sun could indicate towards eye or heart related issues, because it would affect your heart. So anxiety prone. So people who are anxiety prone may not be successful. People who don't have a perfect heartline may not be successful because every stress is going to come to your heart. If your heartline is strong, you'll be able to handle that stress and anxiety. If your heartline is not perfect, you won't be able to handle the stress and anxiety that are going to come into your life. And that is the reason why things can go wrong in your life. So that way, I would say, and heartline is a very major line in your palm. Don't ignore this particular line. If you have got a perfect heart line, the chances of your success is manifold. And if your heartline is imperfect, even the best possible lines that you may have, even if you have the best money line, still a person could experience failure. And if your heartline is perfect, and even if you're even if you don't have a money line, and there's no money line out here, you notice after the age of 53 out here, but still we would go on to say that 100% guaranteed the person would be successful and would have good amount of money even after the age of 53. So and you notice out here the money line is broken out here at the age of 35, but the heart line is good. We would still say the person is going to able to sail through any problem that the person may experience in their life, however big the problem that could be. It could be related to your professional life, it could be related to your personal life, or any other life as well. Thanks for watching this video. Bye and take care.